Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Perfect Tips and Tricks with OESD. I am Carrie, and as always, thank you for joining me. Everybody out there, we have been saying hi in the chat. We've got Karen and Deborah and Wendy and my friend Donna. I am so sad also. I understand Donna is saying she's sad this is our last daily live stream, and I am also sad, but we are not going away forever. We'll be back weekly and many more good things to come, just like anything, right? Things change, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. So thank you for joining me today. I'm super excited. We have Tamara here to show us the finishing touches for our Embroider-a-long jogger. I'm telling you, you're going to see that name out there in the world now that we've patented the term. We'll say we've got a patent on it. What do you think? Tamara, let's bring Tamara up. Hi, my friend Tamara.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm good. I'll ask you the question that you get asked. Did you embroider your shirt?
No.
But you could have.
I could have. Yes, but I didn't.
That's right. Sometimes buying them is just as good.
Yes. When I see it, I take it home and do like a little case study on it. So if I want to replicate it, I can.
That's a good technique. So do you think that we should start with some show and tell?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do it. I think it is so fun that you guys all are playing along with us. You know, when we have these harebrained ideas of doing these programs, you never know that it might go well, it might not. And it's just so rewarding to see everybody's projects. And these were posted on the Perfect Stitch, which is our private Facebook group. So if you're not part of that, come on over and join us. Just make sure you agree to the Facebook, to the group rules. We have that problem sometimes if you've tried to join, you know, we have really loose rules, but they're just like, hey, be nice and only post things that involve embroidery. And, you know, we just try and keep things in line a little bit. So if you want to join, come over, agree to the rules, and then you can see all this stuff. So the first one I have to show is Rose. Rose did hers in these tropical batiks, and I love this. You know, it's kind of neat because it's not, it looks a little different than some of the other ones, but I think it's fabulous, and it's like tutti frutti, and cool. I love that. Love it, love it. And then we have Pamela. Pamela made hers in black and white and gray, which is so classic and pretty, and I love this. Pamela, great job. It's so neat to see the differences between the different, when you pick different fabric.
Right.
And then Linda did hers. This is the one with the green polka dots and the green pea pod fabric. And this
that's so cute.
Is so cute. I think I actually have this fabric in my stash because I loved it so much. It's a one that's a little bit older, if I recall. But I might have to duplicate this one, Linda. Very good job.
Very cute. And
then this Judy, my gosh. Judy is the red batiks. It's really like fiery and intense, and it's got a pinwheel in the middle.
Yeah.
It is stunning. I mean, just so different. Like if I page back to Linda's and then go to Judy's, just such a different look with just changing your fabric.
Changing your arrangement. The arrangement. Yeah, exactly. I didn't even think about the pinwheel. So
yeah,
there.
I know, that's the fun part. And then we have Karen Wood, who did hers in purple pansies. Love this. If you're a purple person, this has got to be right up your alley. Love this. And then Ginny had some questions when she was making her blocks about the directional fabric, and she was asking on the Perfect Stitch if we thought it would work. And Ginny, you did a great job, and I'm sure you probably had to turn some things about. Maybe you didn't. Maybe it just worked out really well. But this has got a stripe that's almost perfectly matched. It's really cool. And then Nancy, this is almost watery looking. I don't know how to describe the fabric in this, but I love this. Great job, Nancy. And then last but not least, we have our very own Rosemary Keene. Rosemary is an educator of ours, and she shared her jogger, on the Facebook group. So if any of you are, hopefully you will attend live events with us when we start doing that again. And so if you have Rosemary as one of your educators, you'll probably get to see this sample in real life. So
cool.
Very fun. So Tamara, I'm going to bring you back up and let you kind of take it away and tell us what's up for today.
Well, today we're going to do finishing touches, put some finishing touches on our little runner. Now, if any of you happen to have missed Monday or Wednesday, we're calling it a jogger because it's too small to be a runner. So it's a runner wannabe. But I've got a cute picture on how it was used by one of our other educators, a real like style setting for it. So that was fun. So I think I'll start off by sharing my screen and then we'll come back to it. Oh, wrong one. But I got to get my picture down off of here. Okay, there. Share. Okay. Am I good?
Yes, you just need to minimize your window there.
Oh, I did.
There you go.
Okay, good. Thank you. I don't know why this just is such a challenge.
Technology, you know, it's a Friday, it's technology, it's
thank goodness it's
quarantine
Friday.
time.
I've always looked forward to Fridays because usually I'm working and out on the road and, you know, meeting with people and having a great time. But I'll tell you what, I see Friday in a whole different light now.
Right.
Yeah, and then I'll sleep late tomorrow.
And,
whatever.
Don't get too used to it, Tamara. We got to get you back on the road.
Good. The sooner the better. Okay, so just to refresh, we are using the Quilter's Building Blocks design set, and you can find that at scissortailstitches.com. So we used some of those blocks. So here is one that Kimberly Dotson made, and that's with the new Tula Pink fabric, the handmade. I really like the colors in that. That would go well.
Yeah, great job, Kimberly, if you're out there watching.
Kimberly. Then look at this lifestyle photo that Kelly Rushing took. Isn't that cute?
It is cute. Kelly, you were keeping that a secret from me. I didn't even get to see that picture ahead of time.
Now.
I love it.
So isn't that cute? So on that one, she used the designs from the Tula Pink quilting collection, which has tons of great designs in it. They're really fun and they're very Tula. So check that out. And here is the runner without a candelabra on top of it. Isn't that cute? She did a really nice job. Then she also made another one using quilting bees. Another fun design collection, really cute stuff, all about bees and quilting and quilting designs. And here is that one. So she used a couple of different designs in this one. You can see the little bees down in the corner.
Great job, Kelly.
Yeah, see, isn't that cute? So on one of mine, I chose Quilting by Design with Jessica Schick collection. And this collection has a ton of stuff in it. There's like over 60 designs, I think. And I narrowed it down to this particular one. And the first thing I did was to print a template. Now, everyone has the ability to print a template, whether you know it or not. There's free software out there that you can bring up the design. And I resized mine to 4 inches by 4 inches and then printed the template. Now, what's important when you print a template is that you know where the center of the design is and which direction is the top, so that when you bring it up on your machine, you're going to know which way is up. And you want to use it for placement. And I'll show you how we do that in just a minute. So this is just a sample template printed. Some of them print different ways, but they all should have a crosshair on them. And if it doesn't have an arrow, mark an arrow on there like this has right under the one, so you know which is the top of the design. That comes in really handy once you trim it down to size. So, and I printed mine on staple stick template sheets. These are perfect for multi-hooping projects like our little jogger. You can line up designs for quilting and borders, print templates of designs for, if I was going to make a shirt like the one I have on, I would print templates and stick them on the shirt and then try the shirt on, and most importantly, look in the mirror to make sure my flowers are flattering. not provocative. So they're translucent, so you can see through it on a quilt. It doesn't leave residue on the fabric, and you can use it over and over and over again. So it works out great. So the first thing I did was I built a quilt sandwich, first of all. I'll show you that in another picture, with my batting and backing. And you'll notice on here, I don't really fill the whole hoop up with anything. The top and the bottom are not actually in the hoop, but there's enough strength in there going side to side that it works for a quilting design.
Yeah, this is like one of those occasions where it's okay. It's very rare that you can't fill the whole hoop up with something, but this is an exception to the rule, would you say?
It is, and I could have turned it the other way, thinking about it now, but then you wouldn't have known the exception to the rule.
There you go.
All right, so I hooped it, and I positioned my template over the block where I wanted it, and then you move your hoop so that the needle is over the center of that design, exactly where that crosshair is. And if you notice here, my needle is actually almost penetrating the fabric. I drop my needle to make sure that I'm exactly where I want to be. The needle doesn't lie. If it goes there, that's where the center of your design is. And then raise it back up. Before I start sewing, I'm going to do a couple of things. The first one is take the template off. Just peel it right off. It is not a topper. It does not look good once you've stitched over it, and it's kind of a pain to have to pick it out. And then you don't have your template anymore. So take the template off. Then on the first stitch of your design, I just travel to the first stitch. Different machines do that different ways. It may go over to the first stitch automatically, but I don't start sewing until I drop my needle and I pull out my bobbin thread. That way I don't have any knots there on the back of my runner or jogger. So I pull it up and just hold it off to the side, let it start, and then I'll trim my jump stitches. All OESD designs start with a little lock stitch and end with a little lock stitch. So I don't have to go back and bury those threads somewhere in my design like you would if you were hand quilting. This is fun. This is easy. This is a little jogger. We just pull the thread up and then press go. So then I'll stitch my first design. Now, after I did this a couple of times, I went, you know what? I can fit 2 of those in this hooping. So at my machine, I added a second design. Well, you can do it at your machine. This one I actually did in software, added a second design and printed a template for that double design. Now, I wanted to show you, and I don't know how well you can tell here, these actually overlap. They printed on 2 different template sheets because the design was too large to print on one. And it's very easy to marry those up, and it tells you A and B and where you put it together. So if your design is bigger than your paper, don't worry, you can still print a template. So I did the same thing then on this design, found the center and stitched my design. So now I'm going to switch to my other jogger. And on this one, I used continuous line Halloween designs. These are so fun. They're really cool and very fun to stitch. They're all single run stitches and continuous run. So it's really nice and smooth and easy. And they're adorable. So here is my other jogger that I laid my backing fabric right side down. Then I put a scrap piece of batting, and you can tell that one I did pull out of the scrap heap because it's not cut very neatly, and put the jogger on top. So I layered those that way and actually sprayed them with 505 temporary adhesive spray. That holds really well for quilting. This is so small, I didn't feel the need to pin it and do all of that kind of thing. I just wanted to make it easy. So I took out the spray, but if you would rather pin, you can certainly. Just give yourself a couple of inches all the way around, at least with your backing fabric. Your batting should also be a little bit bigger. My other one wasn't quite as big as this, but it works very well. Then I hooped. Now this one I started in the center because I usually do start quilts, especially bigger ones, in the center. Then as you are working your way out, all of the bulk goes to the outside edges. So if it's off a little bit, you can cut it off later. And that works very well. So I've got that hooped. And again, you'll see I'm not completely in this hoop. There's not fabric up in it, but it held it very well. Now this one, I used a Brother Luminaire, or you could use the Solaris, and used, or one of their other machines that has the scanner on it. So I wanted to show you different ways of placing it. Use those machine tools if you have them, by all means. So this worked out great. Here's my spider, and I wanted him to be hanging down from that top point there with the purple and dots on the green background. So I moved it to where the spinneret, see, aren't you impressed with it? I know that.
Yeah, your spider anatomy, very good.
Thank you. I know moths too. So you can put the little tail end of that up in the corner there. So I didn't need a template for this one, and it worked out perfectly. And here it is stitching. Now it's kind of hard to see because I used a light thread, but I used this thread because it glows in the dark. So this is our new glow in the dark thread, which I thought would be really fun at Halloween to have this out and, you know, have a glow in the dark spider.
It's awesome.
Sitting next to me with a bowl of candy and
when you wear your witch's hat.
Oh, well, of course. And I have my broom next to me. Okay, so that's how easy that one was. This one didn't take much time at all. I rehooped for the second design. So I moved to the left, to the right, and then to the left. And this time I used the projector because I wanted to get the spider web exactly in this part of the triangle at the end. So with the point of it up there, so I just moved it until I had that exactly where I wanted it. And using the projector was really easy. So I appreciated that and stitched those. Now we're going to go back over to our other jogger. We're going to jog around a little bit.
We're doing some jogging.
We are. So what happened when I got to the next section on this is I didn't have enough fabric on the right-hand side there. Over here, you can kind of see underneath. So I found a scrap of batting that was actually fusible to give me a little bit of a leader cloth. So I've used it to just the backing fabric that was out to give me a little more length there. And then I had plenty of room to hoop it, and it had something to hold on to. So if you don't have a piece of fusible batting laying around like I did, you could also just stitch, you know, a basting stitch with some more fabric or some stabilizer or however you want to do it. I just didn't want to get anything underneath or on top of the design area because I don't want to have to pick that out. So that's how I made more room. Then, so this is actually, so I hooped it, and this is actually pinpoint placement on a Bernina machine where I can pick 2 points of a design. And in this case, it happened to be the seam line because I got even smarter as I did the second half and went, oh my goodness, I could stitch all 4 of these at one time. How cool is that? So by all means, use all the space you have. We bought those big hoops for a reason, right? So use them. So I pick a point, and in this case, it was the top point up here first, and lined it up with my seam line between those two blocks, and then came down to the bottom point and selected it and lined it up and set it. And then when I go to stitch, it comes out in exactly the right place. So this is where I lined it up on the bottom. Again, drop my needle to make sure, because the needle never lies. If it says that's where it's going to stitch, that's where it's going to stitch. So I did it not at the very edge, but I did it at the edge of the finished block. So 1/4 of an inch in, which is where those two fabrics meet. How about that? So now,
very good variety of placement techniques.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
We do have only one, and it is a question about your embroidery foot on your Bernina, because it didn't look like you're using the 26. Which one? You've got the bigger one on there.
Oh, I've got the 15 on there. Yes, I have both, and I can't give you a good reason why I have that on there.
Yeah, I mean, the 15 is nice. So for those of you who own a Bernina, there's a bunch of different feet you could use to embroider. Technically, they're quilting feet. The 26 is probably your best bet for embroidery. It's got a small hole for the needle to go through, which will just keep the flagging down. But with this, though, you probably didn't even realize you were picking it for the right reason. But on the 15, there's like a little, it's almost curved. The toe, the front of the foot is like, it has a lift in it almost. So it's not necessary, but it can be helpful when you're quilting. And in this case, we are quilting, because it can help it glide over those seam bumps,
Right.
where all of those points meet. In some cases, that can be kind of high. So having that little like ski jump in the front of the toe can kind of help glide over it. But if you don't have that, don't worry about it. It's not a critical thing, but I bet you that's why you put that foot on.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Right.
I thought so.
Yeah, and also I recall I was trying to couch with some really fat yarn that was too big for my couching foot. So
There you go.
Yep, and I just never switched back. But I'm glad it works well on quilting. Absolutely.
Yes, very smart, very smart.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so when you're finished with quilting, then you are going to trim away the excess batting. And this on a quick and easy project like this, and I may change my mind actually on this one. I haven't sewed it down yet. I like to do a little self-binding with the backing fabric. So I trimmed it to 3/4 of an inch away from the outside edge of my quilt and batting. And then you can simply fold it over and then fold it on top of your quilt, fold it in half, and then over the quilt, and fold the corners in, and binds itself. Use a little tape, double-sided fusible tape or sticky tape, or a little glue and clips. It'll hold it on there, and then your jogger is done in no time flat.
Okay, so now I'm going to have to ask you questions about this, because
Sure.
I'm learning things as you are out there. So how did you square up your top and your batting and not cut your backing?
Magic.
That's helpful.
No, actually what I did was I folded, because I've got that extra 1/4 inch on there that I'm not quilting in it. So I could fold my backing back. And then I used a rotary cutter. Just make sure, you're past the edge of your quilt. If I was in doubt, then I would just use my scissors and cut it.
Got it. Okay.
That would be how I would do it.
Now
Yeah.
I'm going to try this, Tamara.
Good. Can't wait to see it. So let me show you. I'm going to switch back to my camera. Yes. So I stopped sharing screen.
You do, yep.
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 Find where it is.
At the top of your screen.
Oh, at the top of my screen. Thank you. Okay.
Whew.
My brain is not working as well. So here is my red and white and black jogger. And I do have a little bit of sticky stuff underneath the edges here to hold that down. Here's some clamps. But I don't think I'm actually going to stitch this one down. I'm going to put binding on it because while this has all these polka dots, they just don't come out right on the other side. It looks odd from the front. So I'll get another fabric on that one. And then this one hasn't even been trimmed yet. I have the 3 designs on it. Oops, that's upside down, sorry. But I decided I wanted a little bit more quilting. So I'm gonna go back and do some in these. They have another design of the spider web that's a smaller triangle, and I'm gonna put it in these little corners too. So, and then,
cute.
Isn't that fun? I love Halloween.
Is the spider web, can you see it on, not the spider web, the spider, can you see it better on the back or no? No. Oh yeah. Look how cute he is.
Isn't he cute? So he'll just pop out after dark.
You're gonna have to try and take a picture in the dark and share it on the group for us.
Oh, I'll do that. I'll do that. So, any other questions?
No, I think you covered it. Sharon says that she loves self-binding on small quilts. You know, I gotta say, and I've been quilting a long time. I mean, you know, not, I suppose it's relative, a long time, but I've never done a self-binding, so I am gonna give that a shot. I think that's a really cool idea. So you said 3/4, so you trim your backing to 3/4 inches outside of your inside.
Yeah, outside of the quilt and batting.
And then you fold your corners in, sort of dog ear to the points, and then fold.
And you can cut those off too, a little bit, but I wouldn't cut them off all the way down because you've got room to fold. But if it gets too bulky, you could diagonally cut those at the corner.
I'm going to do some Googling. So all of you out there, if you have any questions, Google will help with the self-binding because that's tough to explain. So a question, Rosemary's going to teach me how to do self-binding. Thank you.
Okay.
Daryl asked if you put glow-in-the-dark thread in the bobbin also.
I did not.
You could, I suppose.
But you could, yeah. I just had regular white thread in the bobbin.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you're not seeing the back, then you don't really need to put it. And if it's white, if it does show through a little bit, you won't notice.
Yeah, and, you know, another thing, too, and we'll see how much it shows up. This actually has a really decent stitch length on it. One thing you'll notice on quilting designs, the longer the stitch, the more thread you really see because it's not pulled down into the fabric. If you ever want to hide threads, make them really short stitches because then it goes down into the fabric more. But this has a pretty decent length stitch on it. So I think it'll show up just fine. You could, though, on some single run designs, if you really want that thread to show up more, is convert it to a triple run or a bean stitch. And it would show up even more. These were just all single run designs because they're continuous run. So I didn't do that.
Sure. So Karen asked how you fold the corners. I don't know if you can show the corner of that one. You haven't stuck down kind of close up.
Yeah. So I'm going to take this off anyway. I might as well do that now. You can see my tape and everything. So what I did was I started leaving them on, and then I went, no, I really need to cut off a little bit. So see if you can see that. So I trimmed that like that. Then I fold down, you know, halfway. So the nice thing with, you know, 3/4 of an inch, it's really kind of a 3/8 inch. So it makes up for going across the batting. So it ends up being a 1/4 inch on the top. I just fold it in half and then in half again and press that. When I get to the corners, I fold that in, fold it over. This goes in and over, and you're good to go.
Got it. Karen, hopefully that helps explain that. But again, I'm sure if you Google self-binding, there'll probably be a video or something out there we can teach all about embroidery, but self-binding is a different path to go down.
It is.
So that was, I think you answered all of those questions. That was super helpful. I love, the nice thing about these blocks and our quilting designs is that we make the quilting designs to fit in traditional shapes. So triangles,
Yes.
squares, big triangles, half triangles, all the things that we have basically now made with Quilter's building blocks. So it's easy to kind of plop them in there.
Yes.
We certainly make a ton of continuous ones where you would line them up, but this is almost, it's easier in some ways. You're just kind of plopping it in a hole.
Well, and actually, this one is a continuous run. Yeah, there's a place where it meets up with the other one, although nobody's gonna, I hope, look that hard to see they matched up good, if they actually match up or not. But it's just an extra little thing on the design. Oh, here, see?
Got it.
Yeah, up there at the top, there's that extra little, so it meets, oh, this is so hard to do. Ooh, my nails are dirty too. Like right here, that's where it matches up.
Got it. I think that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Donna says thank you. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Well, good. You're welcome. Post your finished products so I can see them. Thanks for playing along, jogging along with me.
Thanks for jogging along. This was super fun, Tamara. Thank you very much for really kind of taking that project and kicking it up a notch. So thank you. And thank you guys all for playing along. So keep posting those pictures on the Facebook group. It is super fun. And if anybody gets ambitious, I'm planning on making a quilt at some point, all of our free time. Should have free time, but instead I don't. But if you make other projects with Quilter's building blocks or any OESD projects, we want to see them. So share them with us. It makes us very happy to see.
It does.
It does. All right. Well, all of you, I feel very sad to say goodbye today. We will not have our daily videos as we've talked about next week. We will be going to a weekly format. I don't think we're going to start weekly next week. There's a lot of kind of stuff happening behind the scenes at OESD that we need to stay on top of. And as I've mentioned, strangely enough, I do have another job besides producing daily videos. As fun as this is, I probably should do those things too. So Ginny, we'll miss you too. It was great to talk to you all daily. It has helped my weeks go by. But thank you. We will see you soon. It is not goodbye. It's see you later or whatever that is. I love you guys, and we'll see you soon. Happy stitching.